what about the unrelated? Let's discuss the unrelated.
Yes. So the unrelated or semi-related.
Mm.
So this is the traditional scenario where a seller has been around for a while and they start trying to game the variation system. And I'm not going to pretend that I'm above that. I mean, there's always some gray area where you can potentially see some efficiencies. But really, what I would be doing in that scenario is looking for, once again, the 80/20 based on which products on that parent ASIN are seeing the best outcomes, and if the different products on that parent ASIN have similar or unrelated search volumes. Because what you really want to do is kind of dissect that search volume to see which products need to be advertised on which search terms and which ones don't need to be, so that you don't necessarily have that crossover. So maybe you're selling shoes as a theoretical example, and you put some tennis shoes and some basketball shoes on the same variation. They're technically shoes, they're just different styles of shoe. And then there's also different size variations. But what you kind of need to think about is like, okay, so these ones are for tennis, so I should probably focus on tennis related keywords here. And then these ones are for basketball. I should focus on basketball related keywords here. And realistically, probably only focus on one or maybe two sizes. And then only the style and sizes go after the specific keywords, and the style and sizes go after the other specific keywords. And then you choose whichever one's performing the best of those two, and they'll get all the generic terms as well. And so that's the general approach I'll use for a semi-related product. Okay. Yeah.
And the sizes, different sizes, that's similar to colors, right?
So I would argue it's the best of the variation options, because if someone's coming and you sell just 3 different sizes of the same thing, so maybe we should describe it as count. For example, if you're selling supplements, you've got a 100 count and a 200 count. The 100 count, or whatever the lowest count is going to have most likely will have the highest conversion rate, unless there's something very wrong with your listing. Because Amazon shoppers want the cheapest thing, and even if the cost per count is higher on the cheapest thing, they'll probably go for that. We actually, side note, ran an experiment where we kept lowering the price of the 200 count to the 100 count, and we got it like within 20%, and people still didn't shift their sales from the 100 count to the 200 count. And it's just because the way shoppers work, they're kind of blindly they're like, that one's cheap, that one solves my needs right now, I'm going to buy that one. Even if that one's better, I won't buy it until later, because right now I just want to spend the least amount of money on this product at this time. So what I would recommend people do with their advertising there is focus the majority of their spend on their lowest count or lowest size or lowest quantity, whatever we want to call it, ASIN. And then for specific bulk ASIN searches, spend advertising dollars on the other products on those. So maybe I sell a 100 count, a 200 count, and a 400 count. My 200 and 400 count, I would only be going after 200 and 400 count terms or bulk supplement terms, just to kind of talk about how I would use advertising to maximize my conversion rate and spend the dollars where I'm going to get the best return, and cut as much spend as I can from the situations where I'm going to get a weak return, especially and that's especially true of like mixing ASINs inside of a campaign. I really try not to do that as much as possible, because like, unless there's multiple sizes, because sometimes sizes have, like shoe sizes have wonky scenarios, but like 100 count, I don't want to have the 200 count in that same campaign. Yeah. I just want to be very focused and specific.
So are you then setting up separate campaigns for each one of those additional child SKUs?
Yes. But only for the specific purposes.
Yeah.
Which leads perfectly into campaigns. So I only have one campaign per purpose.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And so
So, okay, fine, great. So one portfolio per SKU and then one campaign
per
per
purpose.
per purpose.